Good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching News at 10. I'm Jessica Lee. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, who is also Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia or Bersatu President, today said that fate has brought Bersatu, UMNO and PAS together as allies, and it is a divine opportunity to put aside politics and be united. Now, during his speech for the third Bersatu General Meeting, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said relations and cooperation among parties in the Perikatan Nasional or PN government will also be further strengthened, especially to face the 15th General Election or GE15.
Hal ini menyebabkan kita berada dalam satu situasi yang agak sukar, situasi yang agak mencabar. It is difficult. Of course, it is a challenging situation. Tetapi dalam keadaan yang mencabar ini, saya ingin mengajak saudara-saudari untuk berfikir sejenak. Cuba kita renungkan. Fikirkan secara dalam-dalam. Adakah takdir Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala yang mempertautkan Bersatu dan UMNO termasuk juga PAS dalam satu saf politik ini berlaku begitu saja tanpa ada hikmah di sebaliknya? Itu persoalannya. Tidakkah kita terfikir bahawa Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala menguji kita?
The Premier added that is imperative that there will be no three-cornered fights among the parties in the PN government to secure victory in GE15. He also said that the unification of the Malay political leadership from the recent political crisis is the first step towards bringing together the Ummah. Meanwhile, Tan Sri Muhyiddin also proposed the establishment of a presidential council comprising party leaders in PN, Barisan Nasional, Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS and Gabungan Rakyat Sabah or GRS. He said periodical meetings can be organised to discuss matters such as economic, education, social policies and various others.
Ini penting kerana tidak semua ketua-ketua parti berada dalam kabinet. Menerusi mesyuarat ini, setiap ketua parti boleh menyampaikan pandangan parti masing-masing mengenai dasar-dasar utama kerajaan untuk diambil perhatian oleh kabinet dalam membuat sesuatu keputusan.
According to the Premier, the implementation of the President's Council is in line with the party's objective to strengthen relations among PN, BN, GPS and GRS. Tan Sri Muhyiddin also gave his assurance that the government will return the mandate to the people and leave it to them to choose which government they want through the 15th General Election when the COVID-19 pandemic is over.
Ada yang berpendapat bajet 2021 perlu ditolak untuk membolehkan pilihan raya umum diadakan. Tak perlulah buat begitu. Kalau tanya saya, mungkin semalam lagi saya telah nasihatkan bawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia Seri Paduka Baginda Tuan Agong supaya bubarkan parlimen untuk membolehkan pilihan raya diadakan. Tapi kita semua tahu masalahnya ialah COVID-19. InsyaAllah jika diizinkan Allah, apabila pandemik COVID-19 berakhir, kita akan adakan pilihan raya umum. Kita kembalikan mandat ini kepada rakyat dan biarlah rakyat sendiri akan membuat keputusan untuk memilih kerajaan mereka yang mereka mahu. Dan
The 6 work plannings through Action Agenda 2.0 or 2020 to 2035 have been underlined by Sri Kandi Bersatu. Its leader, Datuk Sri Rina Harun, said the 6 plannings involve strengthening of the party, community networking, Sri Kandi Muda, Progressive Women, Prihatin Movement and Suara Sri Kandi. She added that regarding strengthening of the party, Sri Kandi should try to attract people of various backgrounds and ages to ensure support from every segment of society. Sri Kandi must also expand its community networking by organising collaboration programs with NGOs, government agencies as well as private agencies. Outreach programs towards the younger generation should also be conducted through the new platform of Sri Kandi Muda. This is to guide the younger people and train potential leaders of Sri Kandi. The involvement of women and Sri Kandi in shaping and forming government policies is also crucial to have more representatives from Sri Kandi Bersatu, as well as creating professionals through the Wanita Proactive Initiative. Datuk Sri Rina also urged Sri Kandi to always speak up on issues concerning the rakyat, religion and race, especially those affecting women. The Malaysian Armed Forces, or ATM, is stepping up its readiness by aggressively conducting patrols at hotspots on the Malaysia-Thailand border in Kelantan following the shooting of members of the General Operations Force, or PGA, recently. Now, 8th Brigade Commander Brigadier General Zamzari Abdul Hassan said the readiness included strengthening intelligence activities, including the use of drones and cooperation with other security agencies. Elaborating further on the matter, Brigadier General Zamsari said every member is required to wear a ballistic helmet and bulletproof vest to evade injuries if they are shot at by cross-border criminals.
Kita tingkatkan rondaan yang agresif yang melibatkan kawasan-kawasan hotspot yang telah kita kenal pasti, iaitu keseluruhan untuk kawasan operasi Merpati ini sebanyak 59 dan untuk sektor Bravo ini sebanyak 13.
Brigadier General Zamsari said the readiness also involved equipment, namely combat boats, outboard engine boats to control the border and national sovereignty from cross-border criminal activities. He said his members were ready and had high morale to defend the border area no matter what happened, especially as they would be facing floods and shootings. He added that the increased readiness will ensure that the mission and duties given to ATM are not compromised and to ensure that the trust to uphold the country's sovereignty and the well-being of the people from being threatened, including by cross-country crimes, can be met. Meanwhile, the General Armed Forces, or PGA 3rd Battalion Commanding Officer Rosman Kasman said there are over 50 rat trails along the Malaysia-Thailand border near Padang Besar to Bukit Kayu Hitam. Now, most of these passageways are built in unexpected and unlikely places to escape authorities, such as hilly areas, and culprits may sabotage border walls and fences. However, PGA directs their full attention to these rat trails as they may pose risks, such as being used as a passage to smuggle illegal items such as firearms and drugs, if not eliminated quickly. For this purpose, security personnel have been stationed to monitor borders as well as utilizing high technology assets.
Dia buat kalau kita nak tempatkan anggota setiap anggota kita di setiap lorong-lorong itu adalah memang tidak memadai, melayan dengan ada bantuan teknologi. Itu betul saya tekankan tadi, bantuan teknologi adalah amat penting untuk memastikan laluan-laluan tikus yang dihujudkan oleh mereka ini dapat dipantau 24 jam.
Another 2 individuals suspected to be agents for syndicates specializing in border stamp forgery are remanded for 7 days beginning today until the 4th of December to facilitate investigations. The remand order was issued by Magistrate Shah Wira Abdul Halim following the application by Malaysia Anti-Corruption Commission, or MACC, today. MACC investigators had on 18th and the 23rd of November issued a statement looking for the 2 suspects aged 35 and 49 years old respectively. The MACC managed to track and arrest them yesterday. MACC investigators had also managed to seize some cash and several foreign passports. With the latest arrests, a total of 65 individuals had been detained, comprising 39 Immigration Department personnel, 17 agents, and 9 civilians. The syndicate is believed to be involved in international human trafficking, particularly in China, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Bangladesh. Moving on to the COVID news, Malaysia today registered 1,315 new COVID-19 cases, with Sabah recording the most number of cases at 476. Now, Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah in a press release said currently 63,176 cases of COVID-19 have been detected in the country since the outbreak began. Now, as of noon, the total number of active cases with infectivity potential in the country has gone up to 11,508 cases. Currently, 118 people are being treated in ICU, with 43 of them requiring ventilator support. The country also recorded 1,110 recoveries from COVID-19 as of noon today. With the addition of the latest discharge figures, the current total recovery stands at 51,314, or at a rate of 81.2%. Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham also reported 4 new fatalities today, all in Sabah, involving a local and 3 migrants, taking the death toll to 354. Now, the Health Ministry also detected 6 new clusters today, with 4 in Sabah and 1 each in Selangor and Kuala Lumpur. According to Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham, the total positive cases related to the new clusters are 238. The Health DG, in a statement today, said the 4 clusters in Sabah are the PTS Sibuga cluster, Jesselton Construction Site cluster, Dermaga cluster, and Tempasuk cluster. The total number of active clusters being monitored in the country so far is 180. The PTS Sibuga cluster involves the district of Sandakan, and so far 104 have tested positive. Meanwhile, the Jesselton Construction Site cluster, which was identified in Kota Kinabalu through workplace screenings, and to date, 44 people were tested positive for the virus. 34 people tested positive as of today in the Dermaga cluster in Sandakan, while 12 were tested positive in the Tempasuk cluster identified in Kota Belud. In Selangor, the SS2UD cluster was identified in the Petaling district, with 13 tested positive so far. In Kuala Lumpur, the Awan Baru Construction Site cluster was detected in the districts of Kepong and Cheras, with 31 positive cases detected. Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham also said that 2 clusters, the Menara cluster and the Simera cluster, were declared over today. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has expressed his confidence that with the access to the COVID-19 vaccine, along with continuous efforts to break the chain of infection, Malaysia will successfully overcome the pandemic, simultaneously restoring the country's economy and the livelihoods of its rakyat.
Kerajaan telah pun menandatangani perjanjian pembelian awal dengan syarikat Pharmaceutical Pfizer untuk mendapatkan bekalan vaksin COVID-19 sebanyak 12.8 juta dos bagi menampung keperluan imunisasi untuk 20% atau 6.4 juta rakyat Malaysia. InsyaAllah kita akan menerima bekalan vaksin secara berperingkat mulai suku pertama tahun hadapan.
A total of 9.6 million, or 30% of Malaysians, are expected to obtain the COVID-19 vaccine next year. 577 individuals were reprimanded yesterday for breaching various movement control order directives. Senior Minister for Security, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, in a statement today, informed that from the total, 522 of them were compounded, while the remaining 55 remanded. Failure to practice proper physical distancing tops the list of offences at 215 cases, followed by organising or participating in nightclub activities, 116 cases. Other offences include not wearing face masks, failure to prepare entry and exit logbooks at premises, as well as unpermitted cross-border travel involving areas placed under Conditional Movement Control Order (CMCO). Meanwhile, in Ops Benting, police arrested 49 illegal immigrants, 2 smugglers, and confiscated 4 land vehicles. A total of 278 roadblocks were erected yesterday involving Ops Penawar, Ops Benting, PDRM, and Ops Benting Aksam. Now, the Perak State Government will channel a cash contribution of 50,000 ringgit to all 59 State Assembly Service Centres to help residents affected by the floods, the Conditional Movement Control Order (CMCO) and the Enhanced Movement Control Order (EMCO). Its Menteri Besar, Datuk Sri Ahmad Faizal Azumu, said the contribution, which also covered 24 State Assembly Service Centres under the opposition, involved an allocation of 2.95 million ringgit under the Perak State Economic Stimulus Package Phase 4. Elaborating further in a statement released, Datuk Sri Ahmad Faizal, who is also the Chendriang State Assemblyman, said the contribution was a sign of the state government's administration's concern for the target group who needed protection regardless of race, religion and political persuasion to ease their burden through the current challenging period. In the meantime, the Menteri Besar hope that every centre will comply with the standard operating procedures or SOPs set by the National Security Council and the Health Ministry when distributing the aid to curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Previously, he said the state government channeled a total contribution of 80,000 ringgit to each of the 59 centres, which were given in 4 installments during the movement control order period from March to May to be channeled to the needy people in their respective areas. EPF contribution rate lowered to 9% for 2021. The sitting of the Dewan Rakyat for the third term of the 14th Parliament has been increased by 2 days, making the duration of the whole sitting at 29 days and will end on the 17th of December. Now, according to a letter from the office of the Secretary of Dewan Rakyat last Friday, the amendment was in line with Standing Order 11.2 of the Dewan Rakyat. Based on the regulation, the head or deputy head of the House could change the stipulated date from time to time. The Dewan Rakyat sitting prior to this was scheduled to end on the 15th of December with the 2021 budget debate session at the committee level. According to the letter, the additional 2 days today was allocated for the tabling of bills and other government businesses. An amendment was also made to the calendar of Dewan Negara, which would convene from the 16th to the 23rd of December compared to the original date of 14th to the 23rd of December. According to a letter from the office of the Secretary of Dewan Negara to the members of the Senate, the period was fixed by Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin as leader of the House via a letter dated 11 November to the Dewan Negara President. It was in line with Standing Order 10 subsection 2 and 14 subsection 2 of Dewan Negara, whereby based on the Standing Order 10 subsection 2, the fixing of the dates of sitting must be made by the head or deputy of the House at least 28 days before the start of every term. Meanwhile, according to Standing Order 14 subsection 2, government businesses must be set down in such order as the government thinks fit and told to the Secretary. The Foreign Minister, Datuk Sri Syamuddin Tun Hussein, expressed his gratitude to his Indian counterpart, Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar, for their recent decision to reduce the import duty for crude palm oil to 27.5% from 37.5%. Now, through a post on his Facebook page, Datuk Sri Syamuddin stated that with such reduction, Malaysia's total export of palm oil to India will increase and at the same time increase the price of crude palm oil in the country. Datuk Sri Syamuddin added that the ministry will continue its best efforts for the benefit of over 500,000 oil palm smallholders, family members and the local community. He said this is in line with the results of his meeting with the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in early October, which led to China's agreement to buy 1.7 million tonnes of Malaysian palm oil until 2023, adding that Wisma Putra will take advantage of better relations with India to increase palm oil export levels. Last week, the minister had urged the European Union to stop discrimination against the country's palm oil and to recognise the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil Certificate or MSPO. Now, the employee share of the statutory contribution rate in the Employees Provident Fund, or EPF, will be reduced to 9% from 11% next year. In a statement released today, EPF said the new remittance structure only affects employees below 60 years old. The statutory contribution rate for employees aged 60 and above remains unchanged. The new rates will apply throughout 2021, affecting wages for the months of January 2021 or February 2021's contribution up to December 2021 or January 2022's contribution. The statement also said that members who wish to maintain the contribution rate for employees at 11% may fill in the Borang KWSP 17A HAS 2021, which will be made available on the EPF website starting the 1st of December 2020. The completed form must then be submitted to their respective employers for online registration via iAccount, which will begin from the 14th of December 2020. Employers are also required to keep the form received for their record. For more information, members may refer to the EPF website or contact the EPF Contact Management Centre. Foreign segment, Iran vows retaliation after top nuclear scientist shot to death near Tehran. Now, thousands of democracy activists blocked a major junction in Bangkok for several hours on Friday to rehearse coup prevention strategies in the latest round of Thailand's anti-government protests. The country has for months been rocked by youth-led protests demanding a new constitution, reform of the untouchable monarchy, and for Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha to resign. Prayut, who came to power in a 2014 coup, this week played down the prospects of being overthrown or introducing martial law. Inflatable Santa Claus figures joined the bright yellow rubber ducks that have become a symbol of the movement as some 5,000 demonstrators massed in the shadow of a motorway flyover in the north of the capital. Some protesters said the last coup was disastrous for Thailand and warned the country should not go down that path again. As part of what they call coup prevention drills, protesters passed an armada of the pool toy ducks over their heads to represent the military passing over the people to take the front row of Thai politics. Another group paraded portraits of generals who had led past coups before ritually burning them. Iran's supreme leader today demanded the capture and punishment of the people responsible for the assassination of the country's top nuclear scientist, who the West and Israel claim was the architect of a secret Iranian program to make weapons. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who says Tehran has never sought nuclear arms, also pledged in his statement to continue the work of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, who died on Friday after gunmen ambushed him in his car near Tehran. The killing, which Iran's president was swift to blame on Israel, threatens to spark a new Middle East confrontation in the final weeks of US President Donald Trump's term. It could also complicate any efforts by President-elect Joe Biden to revive a detente with Tehran that was forged when he was back in Barack Obama's administration. Trump pulled Washington out of the 2015 International Nuclear Pact agreed with Tehran. Describing Fakhrizadeh as a martyr, Khamenei said in his Twitter post that Iranian officials must take up the task of pursuing and punishing the perpetrators of this crime. Israel, the White House, the Pentagon, the U.S. State Department, and the CIA have all declined to comment on the killing, as did Biden's transition team. Coming up in sport, diver Jun Hong to make first competitive appearance in Malaysian online meet. Now, two private companies, CIMB and AirAsia, have decided not to continue sponsoring the 2021 Malaysia League or the M-League competition. Now, Malaysian Football League MFL Chief Executive Officer Dato' Abdul Ghani Hassan said they respected the decision of both the companies but stressed that planning for the new season would continue as normal. In a statement, Dato' Abdul Ghani said the MFL, who held a meeting with CIMB representatives a few days ago, was still waiting for an official letter from the bank regarding its decision to withdraw as sponsors. Dato' Abdul Ghani also disclosed that telecommunication companies Telekom Malaysia Berhad or TM remain committed to being the main sponsor for the 2021 M-League following a meeting he held with MFL President Dato' Hamidin Mohamad Amin and TM's top management representatives on the 21st of September. Isotonic drink manufacturer FNN 100 Plus have also agreed to continue its sponsorship in the form of goods only without involving cash sponsorship like last season. The former world champion Cheong Jun Hong will be making her first competitive appearance since May 2018 when she takes part in the first Malaysia International Online Diving Competition from the 5th to the 6th of December. Now, Malaysia Swimming Secretary-General Mei Chen said the Perak-born diver has been given the green light by coach Yang Zuliang to take part in the five-nation competition after undergoing intensive training the past few months. Chen said 2020 Tokyo Olympic-bound divers Pandalela Rinong and Leong Man Yi would also feature in the two-day virtual meet, which will see the participation of 47 divers from Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Japan and Malaysia. The idea of organising this event and also its concept was initiated by national head coach Christian Broker and his assistant Lee Rui, since national divers are desperate for more competitions to prepare for next year's FINA Diving World Cup in Tokyo, which also happens to be the last qualifying tournament for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Chen, however, said they were still negotiating with several parties such as the Malaysia Stadium Corporation and also the internet service provider in a bid to reduce the cost of organising the competition, which will cost 24,000 ringgit. Now, soccer fans in Egypt took to the streets on Friday, many celebrating their club's win as Al Ahly Mohamed Magdi scored a stunning goal 4 minutes from time, beating Cairo rivals Zamalek 2-1 to claim the 2019-2020 CAF Champions League title. The teams were locked at 1-1 at the Cairo International Stadium when midfielder Magdi collected a loose ball 30 metres out, showed neat control under pressure and volleyed into the corner of the net. It sparked wild scenes of celebration from the players and might have been applauded by 100,000 fans in the stadium, but instead was netted in front of empty stands due to COVID-19 restrictions. Many gathered at nearby cafes, sitting shoulder to shoulder, watching the match on television screens. Hundreds of others drove across Cairo streets waving flags and honking their cars, with some blasting fireworks and flares. Friday's match is the first time since the inaugural African Champions Cup final in 1965 that the final was a single game. Ahly took an early lead when Amir Soleya headed in an in-swinging corner into the net inside 5 minutes, reward for some early pressure as they made the brightest start. But Zamalek grew more dominant as the half wore on and level thanks to a touch of magic from winger Shikabala. But Magdi settled the contest with his own moment of brilliance as Ahly won the title for the first time in 7 years to make up for the final defeats in 2017 and 2018. And that concludes this evening's edition of News at 10. In our top story, Bersatu UMNO PAS leaders agree to put aside differences for Malay unity. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon over on TV2. I'm Jessica Lee. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.